Broncos country, a mile high salute. How you guys doing today? Hope you guys are having a wonderful Wednesday on this week following a Broncos win. It is always nice to have a victory Wednesday. We'll have a victory day every day this week. Enjoy it while we can. Guys, the Broncos have signed a former Pro Bowl linebacker to their practice squad. I think it's very big news. It's not very surprising news, as they've been looking to add to that room for several weeks, really since the regular season began, and they've made a big one with the signing of Kwon Alexander. Let's dive into it. Before we do that, guys, if it's your first time on the channel, welcome. I appreciate y'all tuning in. If you love Denver sports, all things Denver sports, from the Nuggets to the Avs to the Broncos, of course, and fantasy football, smash that subscribe button, as you're going to love a lot of the unbiased overviews that we have. The videos that I put together are never push a narrative. It's just real, raw, unedited footage from a Denver native that grew up a huge Denver sports fan. So I appreciate it in advance. All right, guys, let's dive into it. So who is Kwon Alexander, right? Kwon Alexander, very, very well known. Been in the NFL since 2015. He's a fourth-round pick for the Bucks. He played for the Bucks for 4 seasons, and then he went to the Niners for 2 years. He played for the Saints for 2 years. So he has some history with Sean Payton there, of course. Then he played with the Jets for a season and the Steelers for a season before now signing with the Broncos. So you can look at him and say he's a little bit of a journeyman, but he's somebody that has been uber productive in all of the stops that he's been in. He's a little bit one-dimensional. We'll get into that, but he's a very well-respected player. He's somebody that has made the Pro Bowl over the course of the past couple of years, when he was specifically with the Bucks for 1 year and the Niners. So he's a really good player. Now, when you look at him, he's a little bit undersized, right? He's just under 6'1", 227 pounds, but he's a 4.5 guy. So he's got crazy, crazy speed. And when you look at his history, and I don't know how much you guys look into PFF and what kind of, credence you give to that, but he's somebody that's consistently, since he entered the league, very, very good, very well rated from a pass coverage standpoint and as a pass rusher, right? So when he's sent in on blitzes, because he's not really an edge player, but when he's called upon to be a pass rusher, he's graded out very well. And like I said, in coverage, he's always graded out very well. But he is consistently a very big liability in the run game. And I think a part of that has to do with just the fact that he's very undersized. He's basically the size of a safety. If you look at him, his measurables from his height to his weight to his speed, everything is more in line with him being a safety. He also does have quite a injury history, hamstring injuries. He had a surgery. It looks like he suffered a torn Achilles when he was with the Saints initially. Let me see. Yeah, he popped his Achilles back in 2020. And in addition to that, he had biceps surgery one of the years as well. Shout out to our fellow bicep surgery havers. I had the same thing myself. But and then last year, he was having a really, really good season with the Steelers. And then at the end of the year, in November, he tore his Achilles again. I don't know if it's the same leg or not, but that kind of explains a little bit why he wasn't invited to any camps this year. He wasn't signed by a team. Usually if you're that good of a vested player, you get signed typically right away. But it took him a little bit of time. So he's 10.5 months out of that injury. So they worked him out earlier in the year or in the week, and clearly he has made enough progress, and he looked good enough to be able to have him on the practice squad. So I look at it like this. I think he's a huge upgrade, obviously, immediately from Christian Welch. Christian Welch is somebody that we signed earlier in the year. He actually surprisingly played quite a bit in week 1. And then after that, they didn't play him at all. They started playing Cody Barton full-time in that role, but he even didn't play 100% of the snaps, because last week, if you look at the snap count, it's actually very interesting. Cody Barton played only about 54% of the snaps, and Alex Singleton played 100%, but there wasn't another linebacker that took Cody Barton's other snaps. They utilized more of a dime backer type of a role, which is common to see in a VJ offense, but they utilized more safeties, right? More safety packages coming in, having Devon Key play. Maybe you have Brandon Jones or PJ Locke play more in the box. So pretty interesting stuff there when you look at it. And so I think that the days of Christian Welch playing are numbered because his snap count has decreased every week, which ultimately last week, him being at no snaps at all defensively. He might have even not even been activated, to be honest with you. So really interested to see there. I think he's going to be a big upgrade, like I said, on the depth piece. Could he eventually take over Cody Barton's role? I think no, just because, his liability in the run game is way too big. And Cody Barton is somebody that, from a run defense standpoint, has been okay, but even he's kind of struggled a little bit, so it hasn't been all that great. But I think that he'll be more of a depth piece there. But like I said, former Pro Bowler, somebody that does have special teams experience, that's shown that he actually will play special teams even at this stage in his career. So that's always a big bonus. And I think that he will be able to only benefit at least the depth of this linebacker group. Now, another key thing is not only his history with Sean Payton is always important. He played with the Jets, and he's played under Robert Saleh, both with the Jets, with him as the head coach there, but also when he was the DC in San Francisco. So there's a lot of familiarity there with him, right? And so who are we playing this week? Playing the New York Jets. There could be some game planning. There could be some things that are really helpful in terms of being able to, I might be looking too much into it, but there's always those different nuances that happen in the NFL for teams to be able to find ways to create an advantage. So I think he can only help in terms of, getting the coaching staff familiar with what's going on, what kind of scheme Robert Saleh runs, and maybe some different ways to exploit it, some different audible, some verbiage, things like that. So that's why I think the timing is not coincidental at all in terms of bringing him in. So I love it. He'll be on the practice squad. He probably won't get game action for the next couple weeks. And then I would strongly predict that he will be playing in games within the next 3 to 4 weeks, and most likely at that time elevated to the 53 in exchange for Christian Welch, in my opinion. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But I'm curious what you guys think, Broncos country. What do you think about the signing? I think overall it's very solid. And I think that the Broncos are going to have a little bit of roster maneuvering here in the next 1 to 2 weeks, not just from the running back position, but also with the signing of Kwon Alexander at the practice squad. Let me know what you guys think. We'll have a lot of breakdowns. I'm looking at some Jets tape right now that I got the all-22 working, and we'll come back with you with some of my thoughts in terms of ways to exploit this defense, some advantages that we can potentially create, and ultimately, again, my prediction. Now, I am 2-1 on the predictions this year, so maybe you boys onto a little bit of a heater here. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Until next time, make sure, remember, spend time with those people that you love the most. Go Broncos. A mile high salute, everybody. And until the next video, which will be coming later today,